Okay, greetings, guys. Third week done for Nutrition 101, and we've done really well so far. We've conquered the macronutrients. We've done really well with that, tracking that and hitting those numbers through cronometer. And then we talked about inflammation and how important inflammation is on the body. And what's been interesting is seeing you guys that have managed your inflammation through your diet and just seeing what sort of effect that has on your bodies. Like, a lot of you are looking a lot lighter now, and a lot of you may have, well, a couple of you have shed a couple kilos and haven't changed that much. It's mostly just due to cutting down on those inflammatory foods. So it's been pretty exciting to watch. And today, what I wanted to talk about, again, going deeper past macronutrients, and this ties into inflammation as well, is micronutrients. And micronutrients refer to the nutrients, minerals, and vitamins that we take in that have a really important role for how we are feeling on a daily basis and the conditions that might come up. And so the reason I wanted to tackle this is that often we can get sidetracked by hitting our macronutrients, but we don't stop to look at the quality of our food, because that's ultimately going to be responsible for how we feel. And speaking to a lot of you, and I certainly agree with this as well, body composition is one thing, looking good is one thing, but feeling good is another. And feeling good is seriously powerful. If we feel good, then sky's the limit on what we can achieve. So yes, the macronutrients, you could think of like you're hitting certain numbers to look a certain way, but micronutrients, this is the stuff that's going to give us health, vitality, and just make us feel alive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to cronometer. Here it is here. I'm going to go through a couple of the key vitamins and minerals that you can track through cronometer. So this is an old client of mine, and just here we're looking at a couple of weeks of nutrition, and what we can do is identify, sorry, this is 1 day of nutrition. We can identify where they've been good and where they haven't been good. And what I'll do is point out a couple of minerals and vitamins and ones that we want to track. Now, the first one that we want to track is the vitamins here, particularly the B vitamins. And B vitamins, you may have heard of, they give you energy, they keep the immune system stimulated. If we are feeling a bit down or the body's is a bit sluggish, often people will prescribe B vitamins. We find these in a lot of animal foods and dairy. B12 is a common one that you might hear of that vegetarians don't get with a plant-based diet. So often they'll be supplementing, and they should be supplementing with vitamin B12. And you can see this person's got a heap of vitamin Ds and vitamin Bs, I should say. Each one's going to do a different thing, and I won't go through them all. But say just top of my head, the vitamin B2 deficiency, and this is something identified with myself. That's got a lot to do with the skin, and often rashes around the nose and around the mouth has got to do with vitamin B2 deficiency. B6 has a lot to do with our hormone synthesis. So a lot of vitamins coming through the B6 pathways lead to hormones like cortisol. We'll talk about that later on. Estrogen and testosterone. And B12 I mentioned as well. So just be aware of those and make sure you're in the green. That's what we're aiming for. These are also the RDAs, the recommended dietary allowance. A lot can be said about that. Don't take them as gospel, but just make sure none are really low. That's important. Minerals, and this is a favorite topic of mine. We've got different minerals here, and they all do different things. I'm going to point out the most important ones that I think are the most important in order. I'm going to start with magnesium. You may have seen magnesium before, and that is crucial for, so it's in 300? yeah, 300 enzymes around the body it's responsible for. So it's really important for digesting a lot of our foods. And it's also wherever ATP is. So ATP is our source of energy. That's how we create energy. And magnesium will be, it's almost like a precursor to ATP in creating energy. So wherever ATP is, a magnesium will be there as well. So very important for creating energy. And that ties into calcium. And calcium and magnesium, they work together. But often what happens is calcium will rob magnesium. So without magnesium, calcium can't be absorbed. So it was before thought that you might have heard calcium, good for the bones, good for the teeth. Yes, absolutely. But magnesium needs to be there to funnel it in. So calcium is no good taking on its own. We need to get magnesium in order to activate the calcium. That's why with Cronometer, they work with a calcium-magnesium ratio there. So this person's got not as much calcium as magnesium, not a bad problem, but we'd like that about even so that we're getting the most out of both minerals. What you can also do with Cronometer is go to the little dial here and you can see what they're having and how much magnesium, where they're getting their magnesium from. So a few bananas for them there, some lamb chops and coffee, which I did not know had magnesium in it, and calcium, the same thing. And if we're looking to dial up on calcium, green leafy vegetables are going to be great. Some dairy is going to be great. Feta cheese, things like that are a good idea. So that's two things we wanted to look at. Phosphorus is another one. Phosphorus is awesome. That is in a lot of our turkeys, chickens, green leafy vegetables, chocolate like raw cacao is excellent for phosphorus. That's involved in DNA and RNA synthesis, so healthy for our cells. Also with ATP and bone mineralization. Potassium, and we'll tie in sodium with this. So these have to be at a balance as well, and she's nailed these. If we look at the sodium potassium balance, we're sitting about even. So potassium goes into the cells, sodium goes out of the cells. What often happens though with our modern day diets, they're deficient in potassium and high in sodium. So this is actually some good numbers here, but often that sodium number is way high and the potassium is way low. How do we get the potassium up then, which is the case for a lot of you? Eating more fruits and vegetables, eating more dark leafy greens, fruits like citrus fruits are great for potassium. Bananas are great for potassium. If we look, yeah, she's got the bananas happening there. Avocado as well. Seafood's another one, a good one for potassium. Selenium and zinc, these have got to do with energy too. They tie in with each other. Selenium, Brazil nuts, seafood is going to have a good amount of selenium. And yeah, that's all I'll go through there. The proteins, these are our amino acids. I've spoken about those, and I'll speak about more about those with the muscle gain component coming up. But tryptophan, we can see here. I wanted to point that out because that's got a lot to do with serotonin and melatonin. So serotonin is a marker, often used as a marker for mental health. So it's often said if your serotonin is low, then you might be feeling a bit dull. And serotonin is made from tryptophan. So we need enough tryptophan in the diet to make sure we're feeling good. And when it comes to tryptophan, meats are high in tryptophan, turkey, chicken, and we can see some more options there as well. Down here, these are the balance. I talked about omega-6 to omega-3. So ideally that omega-3 is kicking in. We talked about this last week, and that's going to be pointed more towards anti-inflammatory. And zinc and copper, they need to be balanced as well. But yeah, there's some good stuff there, guys, and that can be a goal for this week is how many vitamins and minerals are you taking in and making sure that you're not leaving anything behind. We're looking for being pretty good across the board, and maybe you'll be dominant in one area. One area that I've noticed that people are very high in is vitamin A, this one here. And I'm trying to work out why that is. And I'm thinking maybe it's the measurement, but every person seems to be, this is an exception I'm looking at here, but all you guys tend to be super high in vitamin A. So I'm gonna look into that and just dig a little bit deeper, because it's we don't want too much of a good thing. That's always the case with nutrition. But guys, we're halfway through. Please keep logging your stuff into Cronometer. It makes a big difference for when we're tracking. Also, track your weight in there. So we can see this person is tracking their weight here. They've lost a few kilos. You can do that, and you can actually create reports through this, and I can create reports as well to see what is working and what is not working, and see that we're progressing in the right way. So I'll see you this Saturday. If you've got any questions, let me know. But we're going to be talking about muscle gain and fat loss and the nutrition programs that we should be implementing that tie into muscle gain and fat loss. That's all I've got. Have an awesome day. Eat healthy, get the veggies in, and track those micronutrients. Thanks a lot.